Hello. So welcome to another installment of our Exploring Consciousness with the Earth Nouveau Hub. And we're just going to stay completely in the moment and go beyond thought, go beyond anything, and just like open our mouths and just let it come out and see what happens. And if nothing comes out, then that's okay too. How is everyone doing?
I'm doing great. I was just doing some gardening and I thought I was late for the show, so I rushed inside. So,
Nope, you're not. You're well in time, well in time.
but
Let's
you were talking before about a new wind, and you brought to my awareness in that second there that you mentioned the name, the word wind, and what I've been noticing of late, something very different in the atmosphere regarding wind. Um, I've never experienced so much high speed velocity wind um, in all my living experience here on Earth during the springtime before. It's like
Mm-hmm.
something has changed, and the wind just blows and blows and blows. I mean, I'm not complaining about it. I'm sure it has its purpose and everything. Um, and when it's very hot, I welcome that wind, but it's been higher than normal. I know it blows. You can see the other day I went for a walk and I had to pass this one area where they mowed around the grass. It's like a big field, and they mowed around the field, but in the middle they left all the grass to grow. And the as I was walking, the wind was blowing maybe about 25, 30 miles an hour um, in intervals. And I had to stop for a minute and I just stood there and I was watching how the wind was blowing against this tall grass and the waves that it was creating. It was so absolutely beautiful to just look at it.
Mm.
I mean, I'm not near the ocean, but at least I can still experience the waves in a different format. It's not water wave, but it's a different format of experiencing waves. And it was so absolutely beautiful. I just stood there and I just took a good moment and be in the moment and just be present, and enjoy it. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say about that.
Oh, that's beautiful. And I think, if you look at, what's happening on the outside, it's a reflection of what's happening on the inside. And, your you mentioning the waves. I think we're all going through these energetic waves at the moment, and there's so much winds, the air, you know, is so much, everything is blowing away and new things, new information is coming in. I've It's interesting you say that. I was driving the other day and it was pissing down, it was raining, and it was so much rain. And also, that realization to work with the elements, to work with the wind element, to just blow away all the old cobwebs and any belief systems that still need to go. And I was doing that with the rain as it was pouring down, so really working, connecting with the energy even more now, in the moment when it happens. So becoming
Yeah,
one with all of that. And looking at, it's like I was thinking with the show today is the more we do these shows now, it's like really that understanding of everything appears or gets created through a relationship. So as one person starts talking and then somebody else takes a little bit out of that conversation and says the next thing, and all of a sudden 2 hours are over, right? And none
yeah,
of that was somehow scripted. None of that, we have no idea. And that is really that. I think what we're doing here is we're just really practicing that community on some level, the playing with each other, and also that creating in the moment without really thinking.
Yeah, one of the things that I like about the conversations that you're saying is that there's no confrontation. There's
Mm,
nobody's trying to be better than the other in a hierarchical state or say I'm more powerful than you and my knowingness is better than your knowingness.
mm.
And that's as you're saying, that's something we're practicing um, in a communicative way because this would be part of our future of how we should be communicating.
Yeah.
So we're
And
taking that practice now and we're fulfilling that one step at a time.
yeah, and really for me it's very much like, I mean, I used to prepare the topics, and I used to, sort of know where to go and what to cram in and everything. And now I'm just allowing myself to just be or not be, and I just really look at, is there any resistances, what's going on, and then just really allowing everything to just evolve as it wants to. um and I
Yeah,
think
it's like watching it's like watching a flower plant grow. You just let it be. You
we
give
just
it the
gotta,
water,
exactly.
you
Yeah.
give it water and some care and some love and just let it grow on its own without your interference.
Hmm. And I think this is when we talk about, the next level of non-judgment, and
Mm.
acknowledging polarity as the illusion that it is, without wanting to think it away or something, or try to pretend it's not there, but just allowing it to have a place for creation, and then go even beyond it, and just really open the mouth and just start talking. And that is kind of, it's a little bit with the light language. When you first
Yeah.
start doing light language, because you are in a space where you cannot justify or really allow yourself to understand what you're saying. So you just have to open the mouth and see what comes out. That kind
Yeah.
of thing.
One of the things that I when I was walking and I stood there and I was watching the wind blow on the grass, the tall grass. I had to check myself and tell myself, Lana, be in the moment. As you're walking, be in the moment. Enjoy the things around you. There's not much going on, but still be in the moment and enjoy every tree that you pass by, every blade of grass or every old died plant that died and they just left it there for the beauty. And there is one spot where I was walking by. Um, it was late one evening when the sun was going down, and the old um, brush that was still there that they never really removed. I noticed such beauty in it because as the sun was setting, I saw it as I thought there was lavender growing there. And I had to walk up closer, stepped off of the pathway in the roadside. I walked up there and I took a closer look at it and I realized it was not flowering plant, that it was dead shrub from the year before. And I just looked at it and I said, my God, the beauty you can see in something that you would call dead, but there's still beauty in that. And I guess that the people who would mow the area down there, they decided that they'll just leave that spot and not bother about it. But then by doing that, I saw so much beauty in it because I walked by there again, and then I realized that I can still see that light lavender, purplish hue color coming out of those shrubs or dead, whatever it was, dead weed. And I thought, that is so awesome. So I really
Good
enjoy
morning.
now when I go by.
I love that, Lana, because that's really that kind of taking information in now from a new perspective, and seeing the extraordinary in the ordinary. It's like, as we're coming through this rebirthing, new birthing of the self, becoming that innocence again, right? As a
Yeah.
looking at, oh my God, I've never seen that before, you know, really in that light. Like you said, the wind is so different now. And was it different before, or are you just seeing it through different eyes now? And I think that is a lot of that. There's a lot of
I think there's both. It's probably I never really took note of it before, and also the difference is there is higher wind um, nowadays. There's a difference because I've not experienced that kind of wind in the summertime, in the springtime before.
Mm.
It's
So
been
maybe
really
that wind is
unusually windy
blowing.
here too.
I'm sorry. Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. I was just going to say it's been very unusually windy here also.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's what we've got June now, so it was raining. It was almost like, yeah, well, everything, the whole seasons and the months and everything goes in a weird sort of, everything changes upside down, and that's actually a nice way of looking at everything. We were talking last time. Remember the energies? We're starting to have to redefine all those energies and look at all the words that we're using. And I don't know if you perceive that as well, but it's like I'm becoming more and more aware of how when people talk and what words feel really limiting in a way. And then there are, you know, those expansive ones, you know, that are just opening everything up in a way. And I just I met up with a friend yesterday, which I haven't seen for a long time, and she's done a lot of work as well. And she's saying, she says, there's a lot of pain that is coming through her body at the moment. And the way she perceives it is that her energy has become so expansive that it almost doesn't fit anymore into not just the body, because you could always say the, you know, the energies outside of your body, but just not into her life anymore, the way she used to live her life. So with the expandedness that she has created through all the clearing and everything, it's almost like she has to open up to a much bigger unfolding. And that, you know, you can call this greater goals or whatever, just even less of a limitation. And that could mean anything, right? Could mean, you know, releasing certain relationships, or even changing the environment that we're in.
It's interesting that you mentioned that, Martina, because yesterday I was feeling like a kind of loneliness and emptiness, like nothing makes sense, like what the point to keep moving, you know. It was very strange because I know that kind of person, and I always cheer up myself and I don't need somebody to encourage me to keep going. But yesterday I was feeling so down. It was like, I don't know what happened. But the weather here is in New York is really changed. And my taking from that is like they predict there's going to be a balance in the weather. Because yesterday the temperature was almost 80 degrees. And then last night it rained. I didn't even know it rained. It's like a breeze, very a smooth breathing. And the wind outside, you can see the tree. It's kind of like we are knowing a spring, kind, almost like in the fall instead of a spring. And I keep joking with my friend. I said, we have not experienced spring this year. We're coming from winter to summer, because it's really having the weather, you know, dropping very down very quick. And then the next day is very hot, and it's like, it's a lot of wind. I said, well, I don't know what happened, but I know that the weather is changing in general and everywhere. I guess it's maybe doing balancing all the things that we have to hear in this planet, I guess.
I wanted to say, Armenia, that we did not have any spring weather here. We came from winter straight to 90 degrees weather. There was no spring getting to that 90. Only now we've been experiencing a little more of a spring weather. So yeah, something is changing. definitely.
Yes.
And that's
What-
rather unusual, the 90 degrees in the month of May. That's don't really happen at all,
Yeah.
at least not where I am.
Where are you, Lana?
I'm in Iowa.
Oh, okay. Yes, yes, it's different. Yes.
Because we could still get frost here in May, so 90 degrees in May is very, very unusual.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes. Definitely, we are moving through changes. We don't know where we're going to get anymore. So many predictions that we don't know anymore.
But sometimes I wonder if what Andrew had said about being in the lighter part of space, if it has something to do with the change of the weather on the entire celestial body, because
Yes,
they're saying also that other planets are experiencing weather changes. So it could have something to do with being in the lighter part of space.
We had a really late winter in Tennessee. We were having frost even the first week of May, which is unusual. I didn't get my vegetable garden put out until second, third week of May. So a little later season here than we're used to having. But now it's 90 degrees, so.
it's, my daughter planted a lot of seeds to plant it, and she had not been able to plant it outside because the temperature dropped so fast. I said, those little plants going to get killed. We don't know. She's trying to see she can plant inside the house. They have to go outside. Maybe next week we have better weather. It's really fascinating how we can see change it. And how from my point of view, the planetary cycles for some reason, because you see some people reaction and or in process transformation. I have seen around my friends is sometimes that we are like a loss, that we don't know what's going on. And any case, it's a very challenging time. It's a very challenging time. And we don't have the choice than to keep going.
Well, so what if we do have a choice? I mean, you said, what's the point, right?
Yes.
Now, what if there is no point?
Yeah, that's also what I was trying to figure out yesterday, because I was feeling this loneliness, like when you have been like for so long waiting for something, and then suddenly you say, well, I don't have to wait anymore, or why I'm waiting. It was like this vacuum feeling. It was very strange. And I started listening Andrew from 2013 with JP, because there was one video they mentioned where they're talking about the Mother Earth, like a virus, the love virus, through JP, that to transform the way how the planets, the economy was, and the control, to take the control from the 3% and the controller group. And I was looking for that, and I was, it was kind of interesting to listen from the beginning, 2013, Andrew interview with JP. And for some reason, it put me in some zone that was like this almost emptiness. I said, well, it was kind of interesting.
Do you know what? Part of the work that we've been doing over the years now were to get rid of distraction, right? So now it sounds a bit like we've done good work to get rid of distraction. And now all of a sudden it's like, oh, fuck, what is this now? What am I doing wrong now?
Yeah.
There's this vacuum. There's this space.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm getting bigger and bigger. Oh, what am I going to do with this? Well, what if there's nothing you need to do with that?
Yes.
What if that is just a reminder of all the good work that you've done? And now remind yourself, enjoy it.
And
Don't jump back in the box. Sorry, don't jump back. Because, I have to remind myself as well, don't jump back in the little box there. Stay out in the vacuum.
You know, that's the challenge, Martina, because we have been so programmed that we have to keep doing. That sometimes I feel guilty when I sit down that, you know, I'm taking some classes now. If I'm not reading about the classes or doing something that I'm not allowed to just sit down and relax, it's like a, you know, this pulsation like you're not doing.
So what if that's not, you see, this is this dichotomy, you know, you say, I'm not doing.
Yeah.
Well, you can never not do. If you're not doing, you're actually doing the not doing. So you're always doing. You know what I mean? And this is the thing. And there's still the judgment. There's still like, oh, this, I have to do this. There's the right and there's the wrong. Well, we're getting to the stage now to really realize the illusion of it all.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that we're going to get out of this world or disappear. No, we just have to start working with this energy. And when I get to that stage, I always remind myself, now is the time to connect to the above.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can't see it yet, perceive it yet, the way I have learned to perceive this reality here. Because remember, this is what we got to do in this cycle of transformation. Once we have done our first purification, which we're pretty much all done, we're going to get thrown into the next level. And then we're going to come back out again. And then we're going to start connecting. Now is the time to think of it in chakras, think of it in above or below or horizontal, whatever. You're working with the unseen much more. So this is the time where it gets exciting to work with imagination. This is then when you get to this space, like, oh, this is, I don't know what's going on. Breathe, exercise, breathing exercise, visualization, or record yourself a little. Just lie down and don't bombard yourself with new information that you've already had before, because, you know, we're very inclined to do that. But that's just cluttering up the whole system again. Just let that information go. It's all there. It's accessible for you at any time, any moment in time when you need it now. Now it's like, what can come up from within yourself as you're connecting with the above? And then you take that above, whatever you want to call it, spirit, getting to know spirit a bit more. Thinking of how are we serving the universe instead of the other way around? What is this actually? How are we a reflection of the universe?
Let me write it down, that one. Let me write it down. How we reflect?
How are we a reflection of the universe?
We think of service to others as being charitable service to others, doing things for other people. But you're exactly right. Really, the work we do on ourselves is serving the universe, the collective. And so there's a service to others in the work that we're doing. I hadn't really looked at it in that light before.
As everything is expanding, our so-called purposes are expanding too, right? And we're going to expand beyond the fellow humankind, beyond the animal kingdom and the plants. Now we got to really not lose track of that, you know, because this is, you know, there is this feeling of vacuum, of emptiness, but that is actually the fullness that we're not perceiving yet because we haven't really practiced looking. It's just the way of looking.
Yeah.
Because there is in every emptiness is masses and masses of information. And that's what we're here for. We are here for to serve the planet, to serve consciousness. What's it going to take to serve consciousness? It goes beyond doing a treatment on somebody. It is all part of it. But what is it beyond it? this is what, I mean, the purpose, we all know what our purpose is. This is it's almost like, what an antiquated bloody question. My question now is, can you live without a purpose? What's your life going to be like without a purpose?
Choice, right? Whatever you want to do that day.
What's your life going to be like beyond choice?
Beyond choice.
Beyond choice, what comes to me is what other people fill my time with, which is not ideal.
Okay.
When you talk
So,
about beyond
hold on,
choice,
just Lana, hold the thought.
yeah,
How much control is in that, Jen?
Well, choice is my control, right? So if I take choice and I put it aside, that's the chaos that comes back in. So I like to put the choice in front.
Is choice supposed to be control? Because this expanded state of being is almost like, I mean, look, we have every week, we are on a different level here of exploration. Yeah. It took us so long to get to choice. I'm now saying, what's beyond choice? What's beyond control? Even taking responsibility is a form of control, is a focused thought to sort of control your environment or yourself. What's beyond responsibility? There is just space. I get it. Can you feel it? It's space. It's vacuum. It's like, whoa. But is it uncomfortable? Or is it actually, oh, okay. Beyond purpose, beyond control, beyond choice. What are the infinite possibilities? Lana, sorry.
well, I kind of forgot what I was going to say, but what I was thinking when you say beyond, what is beyond choice, I'm thinking that it's infinity, and within infinity is mystery, and that's where we're going. We're going into this unknown territory to explore what's there.
That's our
What more can we find of our own self? Because we are all the one, and that one is the great mystery. And so we're going to explore who we are, what we are, and find out more about our own self as the one.
Exactly. I mean, even the choice, I mean, my book's called From Challenge to Choice, a time traveler from challenge to choice. Yeah. And I'm thinking, if I don't put this out now, I can't actually publish it anymore because, even choice is now a judgment for me, because choice is what? Between A and B. Well, that's a judgment, right? I know we're going into a different sort of vacuum space here, and thank Herminia for that, because she brought it in. She brought in that space. Oh, wow. We're really going into this Taoism, actually, or non-dualism, looking at, what, but Lana, you just said it, mystery, magic.
Yeah.
This is what we have to allow ourselves to be, that. Because as soon as we're trying to control it, we're not going to see it. It's like running after something. It's running away from us, right?
Yeah.
It's that next level of non-judgment we were talking about. Absolutely no definition, no identity, no nothing. Having said that, this is how we're going to build our light body, okay? Because this is what we're going to do. This whole idea of what we're doing with awakening and being able to go to other planets and stuff is creating and fortifying our light body, that we can then have the light body to travel and the physical body. And then they combine So as we are here on the physicality, we are just, you know, the way we normally are. And then we have a really, really, really strongly fortified light astral body, if you wish. That one is going on to all the travel. So we're taking our bodies with us. It's the astral body that it's a bit like, and look, I'm still exploring this myself, but this is what I'm getting so far. And it's a bit like, think of the dreaming body when we're heading off, you know, in the dreams. So we know how to do this. We know how to astral travel anyway, but we're going to do this from a place of much better fortification, you know, not just doing it without really knowing what we're doing, putting ourselves into situations where we don't have sovereignty in all these places and spaces that we're going, you know?
But you're talking about like how they control, or like, you know, what the people call the Merkaba, like they said, the body that you, because when we are sleeping, we are not aware that we are traveling, right? It's like having the consciousness, awareness, or that we are doing that consciously,
Yeah.
instead to just go to the sleeping process.
Yes, that's what I would think. I'm not an expert, and I haven't met many experts along the lines yet, but I've been looking into this because I said to myself,
Yeah.
we're taking our bodies with us. What does that actually mean?
But what about, because they said that they have so all the portal. You know, I was watching one, so a few clicks from Star Wars and the Stargate, the Stargate. And then when they got from, you know, the portal, they going from one galaxy to another galaxy. And I was thinking about why we don't have access, because according to many people that have having, you know, experience with very close information, to not mention people, there's a possibility that we can go to, let's say, to Mars or to another planets, because there are those wound chakra in the planet. It can be, maybe for me, how I can see is like a tunnel, and if you had a code to go through, then you can be here, and then in the afternoon you can be in another planet and come back, you know, like a traveling, instead to take the airplane or to take the car, that you have money, you have a strong connection enough and balance in the physical body, in your Merkaba or whatever, the dream body. And then in that connection, it's like an ensemble, and this ensemble is like, I have you know, the suit to go underneath the ocean, and then when I get out, I don't need it, something like that.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, that's what it's almost like there's a meditation kind of thing that I'm looking into. It's like when you do that kind of meditation and you're working with look, all of that would happen when we die anyway, right? But this is no longer necessary now. We can have this experience without leaving our bodies, without dying, basically. So we can have this experience where we're literally manifesting our astral body, our light body, and physically perceive it. So it's I think almost, maybe I'm completely wrong, I don't know, compared to very, very lucid dreaming.
Yeah,
I would think. I'm not entirely sure yet. I'm experimenting with that, you know, but I'm already talking to people, and some people already having experiences like that. They had this amazing dream, and my leg was was somewhere else, you know. So it's already coming in with people that have done a lot of work, a lot of clearing work, that they perceiving, like you said, Herminia, that void space and that a vacuum. And lots of people then they get frightened because they want to go back in the box. They can't handle the space that they actually are. And this is something we need to really acknowledge. We are
to the best.
such expansive, the expansiveness of the soul once, you know, because that's what we've been doing. We've been integrating the soul.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And with that level of integration, we can then start playing with that. And of course, it's not about hanging out there in the astral world. No. It's about, you know, very, very knowing what we're doing, and then coming back and having a life on this planet.
Yeah.
And taking this, so this is the last level of transformation, when we're then doing this and then integrating, bringing the spirit of the above into this body.
Yeah. It's like I would say, the more we know about the technology of this physical body, the more we'll be able to understand that extra bodies that we have, right? Because, for example, myself, I remember now they mentioned that I wake up one morning and my left arm was jelly. And I was awake because I was ready to get up from the bed, but my whole arm was jelly. And I had to, maybe in that moment you had a conscious awareness not to get panic. I hold my arm like this and put on the top of the pillow, and I wait for a few minutes until I was able to feel my physical left arm. And I didn't panic on anything, maybe because in that moment, like Andrew said, like the 10 minutes after we wake up, we have access to all those levels of consciousness. Maybe that's why I didn't get panic. But could you imagine waking up and then have the whole arm just a completely jelly that cannot even move it? And
It was
then
cornstarch, not jelly.
oh, cornstarch. Yeah. Then that's why I think now that you said that, Martina, the more we understand the capacity of our physical body, because if I don't have control in my physical body, I won't be able to get control to it, the extra that I have, right?
I think that the thing is, control doesn't come into this.
Oh, it's not control. Understanding
It's a
them.
different energy than the word control, because
Understanding.
control brings us out of this whole, that then we're just honing into something and discarding all the other possibilities that are actually there. So maybe it's not the right control. I don't think might not be the right word.
Then would be the understanding.
Not even an understanding, because that would come from an egoic place, intellectualism and stuff like that. I really think one of the energies we got to really start embracing is the imagination. And then, of course, the heart, we're coming back to the heart. Because, the intelligence of the heart that we have started cultivating through the cleansing and purification of the lower chakras and the lower levels of transformation. It's almost like, and again, think of the mechanics. I like my mechanics and I like to know when, but I need to let that go too, because this is a level now where we can't want to do this logically. We just have to trust, because we're going to miss it otherwise. We just have to trust, sort of know what's going on, and then work with that and work through experience. And this is what we're doing in this group. We are actually exploring consciousness and beyond. We're exploring all these energies, and just through sharing of our experiences, we are starting to come up with new ideas, and okay, maybe that's how it works. Oh, that resonates. Let me try that, because there's nobody out there. There are no ascended masters walking on this earth. There's nobody out there that could teach us that. And it's not about that. This is what we're here for. This is what we are supposed to be experiencing. And experiencing comes from non-doing, from doing, from non-being, from be. No more resistance, no more beyond choice.
Yeah.
And when you say beyond choice, doesn't mean that we're no longer using choice. No, this is now an energy that we have integrated. And look at your lives. Every time you've integrated something, all this, when I look at all these modalities I've done a modality, I monetized it. Okay, what's next? And all of a sudden it started disappearing. Then I knew, okay, I'm obviously done with this. What's the next? Then I took the next one. I'm done with this. Yeah. But then it keeps creeping up again from time to time, because it's me. This is what they call the philosopher's stone. You are the philosopher's stone. You are the Holy Grail, right?
Mhm.
We're looking for the Holy Grail.
And then we are the one that we're waiting for, and we don't know.
We are the vacuum and we are the minute little detail at the same time. We are everything. And there's
Wow.
no doing and there is no being, and there is a doing and there is a being, and there is this being in the moment. What is required right now? Tanya, have you been exploring this stage, this level?
Absolutely. For me, it's all about the void space, the portal in the center of the heart.
Mm-hmm.
So, thinking about the loneliness that Herminia is feeling and acknowledging, right? That's part of it, right? That's part of going through the swamp, the soup of what humans are releasing on the planet right now, right? All of the old emotions, all of those like heavy emotions that we've suppressed, since the fall of Atlantis, they're all coming up to the surface now for feeling and healing, right? The loneliness, the sadness, the grief, the fear, the anger, the programming, through the DNA code. I mean, it's all like, oh, what's this? Oh, okay. Do I need to go down this rabbit hole? No, I just, feel it and let it go, right? Acknowledge it, thank it, feel it, thank you, bye. Bye, Felicia. Down into those loving arms of Earth Mother for transmutation. She's like the greatest composter for us. But, one of the things that I've really been working with is that void space, that center heart portal, right? I mean, think about the black hole at the center of the galaxy, right? That's the central sun in the galaxy, right? And that portal is in direct alignment with our sun, with all of our planets, but also with our heart center, right? So that's what I've been working with. And I've been listening a lot to Nassim Haramein. Do you guys know this? He's a physicist. He's like a sacred
Yes, yes.
geometry guy and a
It's amazing,
physicist.
the technology. Yes.
Right. So one of the things he talks about like a lot is a black hole. So I see about like the little black hole, but then all of the particulates of Planck's around it,
Mhm.
right, which are the smallest, the teeniest, tiniest energetic particles. And from my perspective, they're just kind of like little beings that are saying, okay, here you are in the void space, and then there's the intention, like whatever the intention is, and then the Plancks go, oh, we can do that, right? And so the Plancks go like out into you know the universe to bring back the experience, and with your intention. So it's kind of like if you look at the an eclipse of the sun, and you see the corona.
Nah.
um, you see almost like the dances and the flashes of light, right? So if you think of like your heart portal like that, and then all of the energy in the universe, right, is at the fingertips of that nuclear reactor of the black hole. So I've been playing a lot with that energy.
Yeah, yeah.
And just the realization that when you sit within that center void space, that you don't have to go anywhere,
Mm.
right? I mean, I think this old paradigm in old energy earth, in the lower density, you had to go out of your body to astral travel. You had to go down into the center of the earth, right, to be grounded and be connected, right? But now when you align all of those parts and pieces within the heart portal, at least this has been my experience, you don't have to go anywhere because everything is there. Everything is right here, right? And so
Yeah.
that's like when all of the gurus and ascended masters, well, it's all about the within, right? You got to go within. It's like, okay, oh, Oh, that's what you mean by that. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
there's layers and layers of understanding, I think, that unfold
Yeah.
within that. And, so just being in that space, like Martina was saying, like just that void space, that energy of, I don't have to do, I don't have to be, I don't have to, I am that. I am.
And it's almost like you are being impulsed, not from an instinctual, animalistic way. You just from the heart to do when you have to do something or be something. Now, as look at this. This is this monad one. This is the same sort of thing. The beginning. Now, look, Herminia, if you perceive yourself as that from the very beginning, and you got that singularity around you, it looks like a lonely place, right? It does.
Yes.
But then
Yes.
now look at lonely. I've written it out. What's in the lonely? The
No.
one.
The one.
Onely. So is the lonely really lonely, or are you feeling onely?
Oh, yes.
Because now it's a matter of looking. Oh, I'm maybe not lonely. I just can't perceive them yet because of the different kind of vibration. Because that only place is not lonely. It's quite, fully full of possibilities,
Yeah. It's not the human mind loneliness. It's a expansion, loneliness or expansion. Something like that.
I've been listening to Alan Watts a little bit, I mean, this guy's just fucking amazing, with all this stuff he's researched and everything, but he said something really, really, which I remembered now. It's like, think of Mercury, right? When Mercury, when there's a little, there's a little Mercury ball, and there's a bigger Mercury ball, and then the Mercury, it just, it's the stuff that's in the thermometer, yeah. So it's liquid at room temperature, and that little ball of mercury. And if you bring the little ball and the bigger ball together, it's like swallows it up.
Swallow.
I think, look at it, all of it, you swallowed. Oh my God, what's going on here? I'm so lonely. You've been swallowed up by a big mercury, and like, oh, good. Now you have to get used to that first. You are an integral part of that,
Yes.
That is the contribution. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been swallowed up, because without being the resonance, the right signature frequency, you wouldn't have been swallowed up by that. Now what happens? Yeah, our physicality eventually is going to change. Our interests are changing. Our identity we're losing. We're no longer that what we used to be. And even it goes back to last week. And all of a sudden, and I sometimes, I have to say, I'm so intrigued at times, which are the people that are still here? I'm like, why are you still here? I don't get it. And there's nothing, you don't have to leave anyone, because they will eventually just disappear, right? Because you're getting swallowed up by that mercury, and you're in there, and anyone who is not a lead or an iron or anything else, they're not going to be swallowed up by that. And when I say swallowed up, it not in a nasty way, but combining
yes.
that.
Absorbed into a oneness.
Absorbed into that oneness.
Yeah, it's like becoming part of the horsing. Integrated with the horsing.
It's like the soul that you are, which is sort of unique. Unique souls, integrated souls are coming together, being connected with the spirit. That's the way I look at it, And that doesn't mean that you got to stay there now. Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, no, okay, now I'm a bit bored. I want to go back and do something really 3D, chuck, off you go. You don't even have to get out. You know, as Tanya says, there's no more that. You know, you can just, whichever way that will be, some sort of knowingness through the heart portal, projection of some kind, or not projection, just the knowingness. We'll get there. We'll know when.
Yeah.
The little impulse that says when you're out and about in a big crowd of people, oh, time to go.
Yeah.
Zip. Tea out.
Yeah, I'm done. That's it.
Yeah, and well, I mean, and then not judging yourself for listening to that, right? Oh, that's a crazy thing to think. Why would you think that? You're having so much fun. Like, oh, uh-oh, time to go. Like, listen to the messages, you know.
Choosing for you and as you without going into separation. It is a form of control, yes, but that's okay. We're not judging that either.
Mm-mm.
It's
And
just
I mean,
look
that's
at it when,
that's the hardest thing, like letting go of the judgment, I think. You know, like all the expectations that we put on ourselves about what it means to live in life, what it is to be a woman, someone's mother, someone's daughter, sister, lover, friend, whatever, you know, all of those old rules of the global narrative. We don't need to jump through those hoops anymore. We don't need to be directed by that energy anymore. We are our own sovereign being.
Yeah.
now Mercury is, I was just thinking, because we talk, Mercury is the planet for communication. And I think I'm not very clued up on astrology, but I read something that the next couple of weeks, it's all about communicating, right? It's all about Mercury, that kind of energy. I've already started perceiving it, you know, that sometimes the conversation's getting a bit more heated. You had any of that with Mercury, whatever constellation is at the moment? Have you?
Heated, but muddy, like a lot of misunderstanding. People take things the wrong way, or
Yeah.
we're having two completely different conversations.
Well, I mean, Mercury's in retrograde right now. So it's going to come back tomorrow, actually. And then you have a shadow period, right? That lasts a couple days. But yeah, so it's like, what are the lessons there, right? When a planet's in retrograde, right, you're going backwards and you're reviewing. Okay. Oh, what has my communication been like over the last 3 weeks, right? Or the last, 3 months since the last Mercury retrograde, 4 months. 3 times a year, I think. Yeah. So review.
Yeah.
Like where are you holding your sovereignty, right? In your voice, in your choice, in your interaction with others.
Yeah. It's so interesting with this loss of identity and coming out of the teacher and coming out of the intellectual knowledge and all of that. I don't know. I have of late a lot of inclination to not remember things. Almost like, you know, I have a friend, she always says, they tell me, they tell me I can't, I'm not supposed to learn this. And I'm like, okay, yeah, this is so funny. But it's almost like I'm getting this now. No, you don't need to learn this. Like with astrology, you know, it's like, just allow yourself to say you don't know. It's so refreshing. You don't have to, you know, learn everything just to come across as you know. No, just, it's not my thing, that kind of thing. There's a lot of that coming through at the moment, but no, don't. I'm thinking, well, there's nothing left. What am I supposed to say with authenticity if I'm not supposed to learn anything new? But it's almost like this at the moment for me.
Well, and that's where the distraction comes in, right? It's like that, like AB talks about the curiosity learning and the distraction. I think, where I am on my journey, that's one of the hardest things, to say, oh, wait a minute, no, that's distraction, not my department, don't need to worry about that. You go ahead and knock yourself out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is where I think I said it last time. This is where my inner rebel that has turned into the trickster comes in, supporting, very supportive now, because it's almost like, no, you can do this. Just because some people are like, what is going on? And just enjoy that. Enjoy to be so different that people almost like, oh, what's wrong with her? Yeah, there's something definitely wrong with me. I'm no longer the person that I used to be, right? And that's so nice to be that to a certain
Yeah.
extent. I'm enjoying that.
I was
Um,
as Harmenia had brought up before, that she was feeling this loneliness phase that she went through. But I wrote a line down that says doing the program, and it's like we've gotten to the point now. I feel like we're not going to do the program anymore, because the program is what we've been living within and following with all the dogmas that the domination and control has put in place as the program for us to follow. And we so ignorantly been following the program, not knowing any better. But now we are removing ourselves from doing the program, and we're being better people now. And we're trying to just educate ourselves differently and not be in that same old pattern of domination and control's way of educating us, because then we get trapped in their program. So we're at that point now. I feel that we're just cutting out from that, and we're getting to be more in our sovereign state of being, and just removing all that old way of constantly having to do something. Like Harmenia was saying before, that if she feels that if she doesn't, she's not doing something, she's probably wasting time. But that's like the program. You're serving the program, Harmenia. Stop. So we have to stop ourselves, catch ourselves, and say, no, we're not going to serve you, program. I see you for what you are. You're there interfering with my day. If I want to sit here and do nothing, that's my choice to sit here and do nothing. I don't have to serve you anymore. I've served you long enough. You have taken my energy away from me for long enough, and that's enough. And we stand in our sovereign state, even by just saying that for ourselves. So we don't have to feel that guilt anymore, because what the program is doing is trying to guilt us into giving our energy away to it constantly, telling we have to do this, we have to do that. If we're not doing this and we're not doing that, or we're not listening to this and we're not listening to that, then we're not doing something productive. But that's not true.
I think Lana's been a fly on the wall in my house for the last 2 weeks because I just said all those things. I'm not doing this anymore. Just fuck off.
Lana, have you, shapeshifted into a fly in the house? What is going on?
Maybe it's one of my soul shards.
I'm staying longer next time.
It's over.
Cool.
It's like a program. The party's over. The party's over.
Because this is really that space that oneliness, that space that we need in order for the new capacities to come through, for the new or real gifts or real purpose to come through. I have a sense that every single one of us through this transformation is going to come through with more capacities that we haven't acknowledged yet. Quite magical stuff. Be this now a healing form or a light language of some kind, or just I don't know, wake up and all of a sudden you speak 5 languages or something. I don't know, that kind of something exciting. So let's not plaster up that space. Let's keep it open. I think
I think that loneliness that we've been feeling at times, because it comes sometimes in intervals. Like in one moment you're really happy, and then suddenly you're feeling that sense of, what the hell am I living for? What am I doing for myself? But it's because we've been emptying out these old programs from our system, and we haven't really replaced it with anything yet. And we're not in a rush to replace it with anything. I mean, at least for me, I just want to get rid of things, and keep myself a little more, give myself a little more space and room within, so that I can really be clearer in my mind what I want to let back in as something brand new. Just like the earth is moving into a lighter part of space, I also want to move into a lighter part of space. So I'm emptying out, so that perhaps that loneliness that we're feeling at times is that bigger space that we're opening up for ourselves, clearing out the old junk,
Mhm.
That's
let's lose the L in front of loneliness and work with oneliness. Every time you say, oh, I'm lonely, oh, I'm onely,
or onlyness.
only, onely. And then you go back into breathing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oneliness and breath.
The only time I feel lonely is when I don't get time alone. When I'm in a crowd, or I just have too many people around me, even if it's just one, sometimes one is too many. Like, that's when I feel lonely. I never feel lonely by myself.
I think we recognize it faster when we're with people and we feel alone, right?
Mhm.
But when we're alone, we enjoy being alone,
Mhm.
That's a very
because we can think and we can do and we can just be.
Be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Human being.
let's look at that, Jen. Because how can we be onely when we feel lonely within a crowd?
I think it's the people that you're around, and not being in the same frequency as them. Like, you can't fully express yourself, they wouldn't really understand it. And so it's limiting in that moment.
So what if, next time you travel to planet Lupiti and you're going to meet a couple of species that you will not understand, you've never seen in your life, and how are we going to connect with them? They're going to be in a low vibration, completely different vibration to us. Some of them will be high, some of them will be low. How are we going to do this? How are we going to do this? How are we going to feel onely in a crowd where we would normally feel lonely? Because that is still a judgment we can't do. Well, we can, but it's separation. And if we're going to do this journey of, citizen, what's it called? Galactic citizenship, and we're going to trade all those memories on the galactic commerce market and stuff. How can we get rid of that level of separation as well? Just a reminder.
When in Rome, do as the Romans do. Is that what you're thinking?
In a way, can we do as the Romans do without actually making ourselves less for it? It's a good practice. How can we enjoy
Become adaptable when we adapt. We adapt to the surroundings, the situation.
Adapt without limiting ourselves.
Yeah.
This is the trick. This is the next level of our exploration. for lots of us. How can we actually really enjoy a certain level of vibration without going into, oh, I'm up here and you are there and there and there? How can we still have fun together without having
Kind of the basis of empathy, though, being able to share not necessarily share the emotions, but be able to understand and mirror back almost.
It's a different level of empathy that we used to know. It's not the martyr empathy,
Right.
I'm giving up my energy. It's that new level of empathy, that emotional renaissance that is coming back. So like, okay, I'm not making myself less. I'm staying whole as I am, but I can certainly fucking, have a conversation with you and totally get it, what's going on.
Wow.
I kind of like to think of it like a giant buffet, right? Here, all of us sitting on this call today can maybe perceive the whole buffet and the past appetizers and the dessert, the tables and tables of desserts. But maybe the person we're talking to can only see the waiters passing appetizers. Great. I like appetizers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to share that experience with you and enjoy it. Especially that little, ahi tuna on a pokey chip or whatever the heck it is,
And that's again redefining, adapting out creating the energies,
And later I'm going to go get some of those desserts.
And that requires us to stay in the moment, right? Not start thinking about it. No, it's actually, you go to a place and say, how can I do this? La, la, la. There's by far too much going on. You're not in the moment. You're not with that person. I think the only way of really being able to connect on this heart level now without going into is staying in the moment. Because as soon as we go into the thought process, we're leaving the bodies and, and everything becomes wacky and entangled again and all that sort of stuff. But that authentic connection.
Well, and that that authentic connection too, it goes into layers and layers and depths, right? So I mean, for me, when I have the experience of talking to people, sometimes I'll see like not even trying, it will just, like, if I'm supposed to see it, I guess I see it, but I'll see like a flip book of, all these past lifetimes that you were a priest or a nun, and how it's limiting your perception in this like moment of reality, right? But still being able to like have a conversation in this moment, right? That doesn't affect me and who I am in the way that I'm perceiving things.
Yeah.
Right. I just know I'm seeing a much bigger picture, right, than some people are seeing.
And that's a really good point here, because I think, with the level of awareness, with the clearing that everyone is doing, it's not that we're going to be less exposed to what's going on around us. We're just going to be sovereignly much more fortified in order not to entangle with it, and to just look at it and see, is this a kindness for me to even, go there or not? Is it a kindness to them? Like, Tanya said, and, I always trip up on that because I'm still in the teacher mode. It's taking me a lot of time to get out of this teacher mode, and not just offer something just because I can see it. If it's not being, asked, don't go there, because it can backfire. We talked about that.
I mean, maybe that's a message for me, right? And not the person I'm talking to.
Yeah. You can look in the mirror then. You can look in the mirror. And there often is still a reflection, but start looking in a much wider perspective. It's not that, because I looked at that as well, picking up certain people and saying, okay, well, let me look in the mirror. And then it's like, I had to really go 3 corners in order to get there. Okay, so it's still there. It was almost, it was a different word, it was a different energy, but it was still the same sort of thing, yeah.
Right. And for me, that's sort of like part of the assessment. I work in sort of like a little bit of an engineering brain where it's like, okay, this information is coming from here and coming from here. How is it all like assembling in front of me in this now moment? And does it require action from me or not?
Yeah, and you know what? The next level is to not even go there. Well, you just said it. That's it. Is it a fucking mirror or not? Who cares? It is what it is. You just said it. So trust yourself, whatever comes out of the mouth, right? But then, lots of us, I mean, I speak for myself here, fermentation in my throat has been my lifelong work, to allow myself to be heard and say, because of all the, stuff that has been going on. So there is still the residue that sometimes, creeps back up. So, oh shit, shouldn't have said that. Really? Who says that, right?
I think sometimes being the one that is the higher consciousness being it's not our I guess I will say it's our responsibility. It's one of our offerings to make people at all levels feel welcome and not judged and at home. So I think it's not just about being able to communicate on the same level or find common ground, but letting everybody feel like they're in a safe place where they're not being judged and that we're all the same.
Yeah, I like that. And it's easier said than done, isn't it? Because that is a lifelong, prep work. Yeah. And a huge deprogramming. Yes.
That's the big one.
It's getting easier and easier and easier and easier. And this is why, Herminia, often, we do choose the oneness place. To remind ourselves that back to the breath. Do your breathing exercises. I really think in this place of where we're looking into imagination, everything becomes so less tangible, to a certain extent, on some level, at least, until we pull it back down into the body again. I think the breath is really something that is, for me anyway, I'm looking at that, and I've started that 2 years ago with Kundalini breathing. That really helps me to really use my entire body doing all these exercises. And even if it's just 10 minutes, that often, helps me enough to get back into the body and really actually acknowledge. I mean, it took me years to acknowledge how little time I actually spent in my body. And that is being a yoga teacher, yeah? On a daily basis, saying, okay, guys, grounding, we're all in the body. And I was nowhere near it. I had no idea. I thought I was super grounded. Not really. And that's really something to look at, And maybe there's a connection with the oneness as well. How can we see? This is a good question. How can we be grounded? We talked about grounding and a different way of looking at grounding now. How can we maintain a groundedness in this new expanded space?
What sensations do you pick up on in the body? I mean, to feel the tingling, to feel the warmth of the sun, the smell of whatever's coming through, you really need to be in the body for that.
Sensual experiences. And then looking for, this is part of the magic we're looking for, is, as there are so many more than just 6 senses. What more senses are starting to come forward? Have you guys had any sort of inkling what kind of senses, if there are so many, there are a couple of hundred? Can we name them? Can we start acknowledging some of them?
Knowingness, seeing the unseen, hearing what's not in the scene world, having I failed at this, but like feeling other beings in your field. I was gardening Saturday. Thought I was really grounded because I was working, in my garden, pulling weeds, hands in the dirt. And I had a big handful of weeds, and I went to throw it on my compost pile, which was within 5 feet of me. Big black snake, like 3 feet long, probably 2 inches in diameter. Big black snake. Threw a whole handful of weeds on it. So not scary, but I mean, it must have crawled right past me. So that got me in my body. I wasn't expecting that.
Mm.
Scooby-Doo
Oh.
moment. Yikes!
Keep it down there. Don't send it up here. I don't want it here.
Yeah. Now Lana doesn't want to be a fly on the wall in my house anymore. But
No, too dangerous.
Oh, those the garden one. There's one that is garden one that they don't do anything.
yeah, it's just a black snake. It wouldn't hurt anybody. They're not aggressive. It didn't, I mean, it startled me, it didn't scare me, but normally I feel when something's close by me, and I didn't pick up on it one bit.
Mm,
That's the sneakiness of snakes.
yeah. You also connected with what you were doing that you don't perceive the surrender. It's like you're in this zone that you don't recognize anything.
I definitely was in the zone.
Well, like you said, you weren't in danger anyway. So,
Mhm.
if it was maybe a poisonous snake, maybe you would have gotten little prickles on top of your head or up your back,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Better
Exactly.
pay attention. Time to pay attention.
Mhm.
But
So-
from an outside sense, normally I would feel something in my field, and I didn't.
Mhm.
So let's talk more. Tanya, you just mentioned the prickling in the head and feeling, because we all have a way of perceiving spirit or other dimensions, whatever you want to call it now.
Mhm.
Other beings. Oh, now it starts itching right away. What are there any new ways, or what kind of forms have you got? What kind of experiences, senses? How do you perceive the unseen?
For me, I have a kind of a funny story. When I was first attuned to my Reiki mastership, I was doing some work with one of my friends who had an editing studio, and I hadn't started like doing Reiki full time. I was still sort of working in tech, and so every time I would go over to his house, I would look at him and I would see him wearing a little house on the prairie bonnet. And I was like, what the fuck? What's this? What's this about? And I had a reading with a psychic around that time. And, I was just opening up to my psychic abilities more and more. And she said, oh, yeah, you two, you used to live on the prairie together. You were married. He was your wife. And I thought, oh, that's really interesting. Here I am. I'm seeing a perception of him from another lifetime as Laura Ingalls Wilder with the Little House on the Prairie Bonnet. So I started paying attention to that, and when I started doing the work I'm doing full time, I started seeing more and more imagery like that, like little movies, and I would see maybe like a close up of a hand combing a hair, or like a wheel running, and I had to teach myself to like zoom out so I could see the bigger picture. And so now, when I'm working on someone, I'll see like their face dressed in like different clothing, and maybe they're doing something if one of their soul shards is coming in for integration and healing. But like that visual, I've always been very visual and able to communicate with like plants and animals. Like they would show me pictures when I was younger and still do. But that kind of perception, right? I could have dismissed it, right? I could have said, "Oh, that's nothing. That's nothing. I don't know why I'm seeing that. I must be making it up." Right? But there's, you see certain things that you're like, I would never even think of that. Like, how could I make that up?"
Yeah.
Right? So, just trusting what's coming through, right? And then being able to say, okay, now I'm going to take 6, 10 steps back, right? To see what is going on around this little tiny picture that I see. I'm going to expand my field of vision. Right. So that, for me, that was like my first sense that came in, right, to do the work that I do. And now it's really multisensory. Like sometimes I'll hear things. Sometimes like my ear will ring and go like wee, and I'll be like, oh, okay, someone's entering entering Earth energy field. Or sometimes like smell and taste are really strong for me. I'll be walking by someone and I'll smell like, oh God, what's that? Like, walk away. I mean, of course, living in the city, there's tons of all kinds of unpleasant smellness. But, sometimes like having the mask around, walking around with a mask and having to live, with a mask so frequently, it's like those senses are dulled in a way because your nose and your mouth are covered up. Like you can't taste the air and you can't smell the fragrance of the flowers around, or if someone is angry, or I don't know. I mean, to me there's like a smell and a taste when people are holding different emotions.
Tanya, can I back up on that one? I have to add something that's kind of, it's silly in a way, but like isn't spirit silly. I went to get an oil change at a new place. And I walked in, like I wear the uniform and the disguise of a suburban housewife, so like I just look normal, and walked in, and new person, really great. I have no idea how, but within 30 seconds, I think it was like, oh, it's a nice day. It's a nice day. Like you should get outside, go for a walk, that kind of a thing. The gentleman at the counter started to talk about his fiance who's pregnant, but she can't go fishing because it's a Vietnamese Hmong culture, and bad spirits could attach themselves to her or something like that. And then he's explaining to me that she has a weak spirit. I'm like, just all this stuff started coming out, and I'm like sitting here, I'm like, I just look like a suburban housewife. Like, why are you talking about this with me? But he must have known. Anyway, he started to bring up this walnut, some kind of a strange walnut. And I mean, I love to explore different modalities and shamanism and all this kind of stuff. Apparently there's a walnut in the Hmong and Vietnamese community that you smell, and that then spirits are around you because of this smell. Like this is a huge, like I'm not that culture. I don't know it. Although I live in Minnesota, we have, a ton, huge community that's in, that has Vietnamese and Hmong and stuff like that. But I'm just not, I haven't entrenched myself into the spiritualism of that. But anyway, so he said they will buy this walnut and then smell it to train themselves that there's this spirit around or something like that. And I just to interject, I thought that was fascinating. And it was just like hilarious. I'm in there for an oil change and this man just starts spewing his shamanism to me. I mean, I super enjoyed it, but I don't know. I haven't really explored it, but all I'm saying is in this Hmong Vietnamese community, they smell this walnut, they buy it and then they smell it so that they know if you have a weak spirit that there's spirits around or something like that. I just had to throw that in there because you were talking about smell and spirits, and I'm like, oh my God, I just had this 2 weeks ago. That's so funny you bring that up. It's kind of weird, but hey, we all have to stop saying it sounds weird because it's always weird with all of us, but whatever.
Maybe
Anyway.
one of your connection from past life, Vietnamese, maybe it was a reconnection of soul or something.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
I
and
know.
your body may look like a suburban housewife, but the light in your eyes says other.
Yeah, I know. Like it's all pixie dust from here, but yeah, I don't know. I felt honored. I mean, like then he started saying, and then like we like connected and more and more and more. But I mean, like just the fact that he started to say, well, we can't fish because the spirits would attach themselves, and I'm like, that's kind of a lot to say to somebody. I mean, a lot of people would take that in the wrong way. Yeah. And like you said, thank you so much. he might have seen the light of my eyes, which is the light in all of your eyes. And I'm sure you guys all get very strange interactions like
Yes.
that, you know, people confessing things to you.
Yeah,
So-
it's like sometimes in the store that you see somebody and you recognize the face.
Yeah.
Or sometimes for me, I can feel it. Oh, it's like a non-energy or a doctor energy or a contractor. But it's somebody like a regular person. But in the moment when I see the person, it's like, oh, it's like I know that person from before. And for some reason, we started conversation very easily. Or a very nice smile, and then in the parking lot. And I can feel like this is like it was used to be the priest, or those kind of things. It's like a feeling or knowing that you don't know how you're feeling, how you know it, but it's that sensation, that tasty sensation. And it can happen that it's a recognition of soul or something. Very interesting.
And I have to say too that, oh, I'm sorry.
Go.
Well, like I said before, like we came here as water baby astronauts, through water. And then when we're born, we go from a water being into an air being. And so the prana, and you were talking about this earlier, with the air and everything and breathing, that becomes our new umbilical cord. And while I'm expelling the things from my body, I mean, like it's a different type of ocean that we're swimming in, an air ocean, and there's got to be information. And like if this community is saying, teaching people to smell this thing, and now that spirit is near you. And like for me, sometimes spirit is a cigar or a perfume. Like I smell it and sense it in different realms. But I mean, I thought it was interesting that they were teaching in this way. But that the prana and the breath we take in when we stop having breath is when we stop having life. And that is our new umbilical cord on a different realm and level and everything like that. And so there has to be intelligence, of course there is, in the air, so it's just very intriguing and interesting because we look at water and what it holds and stuff like that, but the science of the air that we're breathing in, because that literally is our new umbilical cord. And I'm breathing air that you're breathing, and all this kind of stuff is just fascinating to me. So anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Yes. Yes, I always feel fascinated how we have the mentality that having so deep a program that we are separate and we are breathing the same breath that everybody breathes.
Exactly. And living on this being that's called Earth, and it is a living entity, it's just fascinating. And the trees and the green, like it's whatever, y'all know, y'all know, I don't have to tell you guys.
It's good to remember.
Yeah.
Well, it's nice to hear too other people's perceptions, right, of how, how we're interacting, right? How do you see things, right? I'm always curious, how people perceive, like when you're looking at someone else, or when you're walking through the world, when you're breathing the air or touching the trees, right? We all have our own perspective.
Yep.
Wow, it's funny that you said that. I saw a picture, one of my friends, she's a very spiritual person. She used to go to Manchester. I used to go with her to Manchester. And I saw one picture that she put in her Facebook, and I don't get connected with her anymore really because I'm doing all those things. And I saw in this tree, I mean, if you see the tree where she's, like lean on, you can see the face of like a man smile. And I said, wait a minute, I'm getting like my vision is kind of disturbance. And I keep looking at it. I even took like a screenshot picture for me to look at it because I saw just like if somebody paint a face, but it's not a paint. It's just like a regular human being face in that tree where she was leaning on. And it's a wow. And then I was thinking, wow, that's really those. Everything is live. Everything is manifest. Let's see what maybe beings have been manifested through that tree. That's what my thought, right? Because I couldn't, make it the real for my mind. Now that you said that, it's kind of interesting.
Well, even, even going deeper with it, now remember all the times that you've incarnated on planet Earth as a tree.
Oh,
Ask yourself to remember, ask your soul to remember and feel it.
yes.
What did it feel like? What was your lifespan? Where were you? Was it wet? Was it dry? Was it windy? How did you move? What kind of tree were you? Right? And so when we ask ourselves to remember, we bring that soul shard back to our center. We become one, right, with that part of ourselves that maybe we've put over here somewhere.
Hmm.
Because our
Interesting.
human brain can't conceive of it.
Yeah.
And it's a perfect way of practicing imagination.
That's great.
Practicing, because everything you guys were talking about, this can all be practiced, like what Tanya was saying, the faces, you just practice, just make it up in the beginning. Next time you meet somebody, look beyond, say, oh, let me see if I can see something, and then keep doing that, and you will start seeing it. And in the beginning, you might not trust it or not, but it doesn't matter, because there will be, just like Tanya was saying, there will be synchronicities coming in that all of a sudden confirm it. I'm like, oh my God, So it's all in the acknowledgement, because everything's already happened, or everything's already here. And this is why, with when we talk about imagination now, it's like we need to go expanded imagination, not just starting to acknowledge what's already here, but actually starting to really bring it in. So it's got to be beyond. So it's got to be weird, and remind yourselves, weird means of destiny. If you look at those dictionaries before 46 or something, it's just been, redefined so many times that nobody would use it because it's such a powerful word. So we're looking for the weird, we're looking for the not normal. And this is why, we can call ourselves the forerunners of this new energy, because, you have to have not a capacity, but just a willingness to be weird, to be not normal, to allow yourself to come up with stuff that nobody else has talked about yet.
There's on Memorial Day weekend here in San Francisco. It's really fun in my neighborhood in the Mission where I live. And there's a big street fair that happens and a parade that happens. So my friend and I went and looked at all the booths and walked through the parade, and it's called Carnival. So there's all kinds of, wonderful costumes with lots of feathers and glitter and sparkles. And we were standing in line to get some cocktails at the beer tent, and there was a woman in front of me who had just bought a necklace with this green stone aventurine. So this is what aventurine looks like. It's sort of like a soft green, and it has like some sheen. It has mica in it, so it's silvery and sheeny. And the energy of the aventurine is that of like the unlimited self, right? Look at all these little like facets and sparkles within it, and how many different reflections you have of yourself. And so I was just guided to say to her, "Oh, I see. I like your necklace. Look at it's aventurine." She's like, "Oh, is that what that is? I just bought it." And then I just looked at her and I said, "You are unlimited. That's the energy, right, of this stone." And she was just like, "Huh? Huh? Oh, oh," just to see like that phrase, it rung her bell, right? It hit multi-dimensional notes for her, right? And I just like tap tap. You have to tell, you have to tell her this. Okay, all right, I listen. So so yeah, that experience, right, in the standing in a crowd of people, of course, I didn't know, right, who were of all different types of awareness, right, just out having fun.
I
Exactly.
like that you said the word carnival because the TV of your neighbor Martina was coming through loud for a few minutes, and I was thinking like, other senses that I felt like I was in the middle. Like if I just turned around and walked through the wall behind me, I'd walk right into a carnival. I was thinking that about the music on the TV from your neighbor, and then they're talking about your experience in the carnival. So that music was playing into the atmosphere of the conversation as well.
Stay
I love it.
synchronistic. Thank you very much, Wanda.
I kind of heard it too, and I was thinking, oh, there's music playing in the background today. It's not the
Mm.
chitter chatter of the TV.
I
neighbors
didn't,
are
I
having
didn't hear it.
So many things we do in unawareness, in acknowledgement. I mean, I like what you said with the stone. I've started wearing this blue stone. I can't even remember the name. What's the blue stone?
If you hold it closer, I could probably tell what it is, but
It's just the normal, the blue normal stone. What's it called?
A soda light, maybe.
No,
maybe lapis.
lapis lazuli. Yeah. And I thought, I don't really do blue normally, Why am I? Anyway, and like every morning I put it on. I'm like, oh, why am I putting it on? Anyway, And then my friend pulled a card for me this morning, and the card was the Queen of Passage. And she had this blue stone right there, necklace. I'm like, oh, I see. I should have looked at that, There's so many things we do in unacknowledged. And I am such I do this so often, and it's like, oh, nothing happens to me. I used to say all the time, oh, I'm not psychic. I don't. Just because we're not acknowledging shit. We're doing it because it's so normal to us, right? So this is really the question when you go into, oh, this is not happening for me.
Yeah.
What are you doing already that you haven't acknowledged yet?
Yes, it's because we pay attention to how other people running instead to see how I run myself.
Exactly. And I like Dana's umbilical cord being the breath. I really like that. Umbilical cord or heart cord, that being the breath.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yes,
It
yes,
almost feels energetically the right thing,
yes.
That's-
Very nice, very
that-
nice.
I really like that.
Mhm.
Yeah. And it leads back to yourself. It's the life force. It's the acknowledgement. What else is happening, girls?
Okay, being as we had, can you hear me? Because I'm like, am I muted? Am I not muted?
Oh, go for it. Yeah.
So, okay, just because you're saying this and it's synchronicity and whatever, we had a lag in a moment. So you're sitting there with this, your blue, and I'm like, it's blue lapis, whatever. And so just to the right of my screen is and I'm Kiki Louise on Facebook just to be whatever, but and my real name is, as you see, Dana. But you were saying that, and I'm like, holy crap, because I'm like, oh, do I need to get one of these? Because this is a bioelectric shield, whatever, that's what I normally wear. But all of a sudden I'm like, oh shit, because you're saying, I mean, look at her. And
Oh.
she's got the blue light, and I was like, and I'm looking at you and you're saying this, and I'm looking at her like, oh my freaking God. So I'm kind of like, maybe I need to get one of those. I'm like, whatever. So anyway, I just thought that was kind of, because it's like, as you can see, I'm just sitting here and it's right there, and like, there she is, and she's got the thing. whatever. Anyway, so I have to laugh. I have to interject, because this is the magic of all this. I mean, thank you all, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know who's all here. The magic that's in this realm right now with this room and this group. That's why I liked it to like touch base with you guys, because like, and the magic around the world, wherever you guys are, and just to have that energy thing. And we're not together, we don't even know each other, but thank you for this community and stuff like that. And it's like cracks me up, all the synchronicities, because and then this the magic about magic. It's kind of like Harry Potter. Who are you? Check in with these guys, like that's where the magic's at, like all these sorceresses, it's amazing. Anyway, I just had to throw that in because we had a lull, so I'm sitting there like going, oh my God, look at that. Anyway, that's my 2 cents again.
I'm feeling inclined now. I'm gonna get my cards. I'm gonna pull a card for us as a group. Okay, let me just find my cards. Keep talking amongst.
I got my cards right here. Like all my tools are right next to my computer.
The picture that you showed just now is what's the picture is what?
This is from Doreen Virtue, who whatever went back to the darks. I don't mean to say it, but anyway, Doreen Virtue's The Goddess deck. So here's the thing, just recently, like I turned 60, whatever, but I was like 54, 50, whatever. I big long story, won't tell you all, but I walked into a rock shop and like rocks, whatever, at crystals. And she's like, oh, Dana, because I never thought of my name as being anything wonderful or whatever. And she's like, Goddess Dana. And I'm like, what do you mean Goddess Dana? And I'm like, I'm sorry, but I'm psychic, all this kind of woo, 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 woo. And no one had, everybody that's had it, they must have assumed I knew. I had no idea about this Goddess Dana. And so that just was like earth shaking to me. And then her message and the thing on the card, it says, you have divine knowledge that can help others through your spiritual teaching.
Wow.
That's what's written at the bottom. And I'm like, I mean, like those moments where you're just like,
that's not me. That's not me. That's not me.
No. I mean, like and with so many of us, we know it's us. But then we hide under a rock and we need to shine our light. Because we're afraid.
Exactly.
Yeah, and we're all, and that's why I like this group, because we're all trying to.
Yes.
This is a support group, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Because it's a safe place to talk about weird things. What do you have, Martina? You got the picture?
Yes.
You got to pull the card? Yeah.
You see it?
Hold it up
No,
higher.
hold it up higher.
Up.
And a little
Ooh.
bit closer to your camera. And a little bit higher. So we
Yeah.
a little bit higher.
Wow.
Oh, there.
Fairy
Oh, the fairy godmother. And there
godmother.
she is.
Oh.
Revelation, discovery, infinity.
Yeah. So fairy godmother, revelation, discovery.
Martina, show it again. Show
Yes,
the
I
card while you talk.
I couldn't see it very good.
Can you see it?
No, I didn't.
No.
I don't see it.
Oh,
Hmm.
you see it?
Bippity
now
boppity
yes.
boo.
Exactly.
Beautiful.
Yes. Can you see it?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Lift it up a little. Yeah.
Up.
Yeah. There you go.
Perfect.
Okay. So this is the card for the group. So we're all fairy godmothers here. So let's just see what it says. Yeah. 32. This I was a green witch this morning.
Aw.
This is for imagination as well, so get yourself a card set. You can really practice imagination with that. So the fairy godmother, yeah. So when the fairy godmother comes to you, be aware that this is a time when you will discover what has been long hidden to you. Your true self will be revealed in surprising ways every day, and sudden moments of heightened perception will make this time especially significant for you. People finally get found out. Manipulators can be seen through. True costs of circumstances are revealed, and any lies about you will be seen. Be
Mm.
aware, girls. This can be hard, but it's truly a hardship that it's born out of protection. You're safer for knowing in whom you can trust in order to make the right choices for your soul.
Hmm.
Throughout these revelations and insights will be guided. Insights will be a guiding hand, and this is the fairy godmother. She's showing you what is you need to know in order to create and foster a life that works for you. And she's a protective force too. So what you need will come to you now, sometimes in a very strange way. Be mindful of counting your blessings at this time, for this is the energy your fairy godmother can draw upon to keep transforming your life into one which is more abundant, magical, meaningful, and joyful.
Wow.
Not every moment of truth, note every moment of truth, they are all significant, and you're better for discovering what was once hidden from you. Yay! Thank you, fairy godmother.
Very nice. Wow. I
Very
think that's wow, that's wonderful.
quite synchronistic, right? In what we were
Mhm.
saying today
Yes.
in our little show here. So yeah,
Thank you so much.
you're welcome. We can always pull a card. I mean, any you guys all have sets, right? We can do this every week. We can pull a card or something, and then also, you know, if we run out of stuff to say, we can also look at one of those cards, right? So go, let's work with that. Let's be inspired.
So I was inspired, Martina, and I pulled a card and two fell out. So I just want to, so I was using my crystal deck. So this
Okay.
is the first card that kind of fell out. So this is
Black onyx.
black
Grounded.
onyx, right? Which is connected to the energy of that grounded self-awareness, like we were talking about before, right? I think about Jen in the garden, right, working, and then all of a sudden, wait, am I aware about what's around me? So this is some black onyx.
Okay.
This is like give you the energy of that. And the second card, this is the one that the other one popped out, but and this is the one that was the
Green
draw.
tourmaline.
Green tourmaline,
Green
yeah.
tourmaline.
Enlightenment.
Enlightenment.
I
So
love
there's
him.
Diva of the crystal, and so I think those two really work well together. So this is green tourmaline. I like this one. It has a little dragon on it, sort of. But the green
Yes.
tourmaline also, from my perspective, works with the divine masculine energy in the heart center as an alignment.
I think it's green tourmaline and the aventurine. So, because you're like cracking me up right now because you're talking about the aventurine, and I was given a gift of a magic thing of money bags. So it's like 3 crystals that you put in your pouch, and you probably know what they are. But I think it's green tourmaline and aventurine, and then there's a gold. So those are the 2 green for dollar bill, and then a gold crystal, and I can't recall what it is.
Probably
You
pyrite
probably know. It was gold. I don't know. It's just
or
kind of, it looks like,
sunstone.
what's that?
Sunstone?
No, it's a gold. I
Oh,
can't.
citrine, probably citrine.
Yeah, it's probably a citrine.
Yeah,
But
'cause citrine really
the
connects.
3 of them together was called money bags, the 3 crystals. And so you get little ones and you put them in your purse or whatever. So that's supposed to bring in money. So it's so hilarious because I'm sitting
All
back
right,
here.
so
going,
there's your trinity. There's your
yep,
money
there it
bag,
is.
Trinity, the green
Money, of
tourmaline,
course, you have it right there.
aventurine, and citrine.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, money. It's called money bags. But when you first brought up the aventurine, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's part of my money bags. And then, yeah, you're bringing up the whole rest of the thing. So everybody, maybe this recipe is for you. And here it is, money
Oh,
bags.
definitely I need it.
Yeah.
We all
And then abundance, but then grounding it. Grounding.
Yes.
Grounding,
With the
grounding.
onyx. Yeah. That's so
That-
hilarious. Small world.
Mhm.
Whoop.
Yes, it's a green tourmaline and serpentine.
Green
And
tourmaline,
the citrine.
Aventurine,
Aventurine.
Aventurine.
and citrine.
Yep.
Oh, I'll go citrine in here.
Oh,
Mhm.
and there you go. They were all like, crystals talk, and they're like, hey, what about us? We need to be brought up, blah, blah, blah.
They do. They're
They
very
do.
chatty.
Yeah, they are. It's funny.
Yeah, very cool.
Hmm.
Well, thank you so much. Having very nice enlightening time.
So, Herminia, will you ever be onely or lonely again?
Only,
Only, onely.
only, not lonely. Only,
Only,
not
not
lonely.
lonely. Fantastic.
Yes, only, not lonely. Thank you so much. Definitely that helping me to transform this feeling.
Hmm.
Fabulous. See them for what they are. Expansion into the singularity. That's really
Only-
duality, 3D, not going to go away. Singularity, sleeping and choice, working with our light bodies, and then just going from one to the other
Mhm.
seamlessly. Bit of dust, very godmother dust.
Great.
Okay, girls.
Thank you. So good.
Only.
Only.
Okay, I'm going to write
Have
it
a
down
very
here.
onely evening, girls, and a good week. And I'll see you next week. Thanks for being here. Thanks
Okay.
for creating. And recordings going out later. And I'll see you next week.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Namaste.
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 Namaste.